This is the third installment in my SSS course about comedy. And what I want to go into with you is the concept of body language comedy. A lot of times, a joke, a moment of levity, being funny, isn't that much about the words. A lot of times it's about the way you sit, your facial expressions, how you respond to something. And someone who is very, very good at this and very funny is Andrew Tate. So I went through some of his materials, especially the ones about Meghan Markle and the Oprah interview, where he's on a roll a couple times. So we're going to see some examples, and let's dig into it. This will be fun.
You really are having a baby.
You'll see this way more clear later. But notice the contrast of the extremely, over-the-top American way of, oh my God. And then Tate sitting there, very, stoic.
That's more than a bump.
I know.
Wow.
I know.
How does he hug? Virtual hug?
Know.
Yeah, distance hug. So we can't hug because we're practicing doing all the things. We've been so strict.
If someone is talking about something and I'm sitting there and then they're finally done and I just look at them and then I talk, it's funny in itself. You're making it clear, I'm so tired of this bullshit.
If celebrities continue with this facade COVID bullshit, oh no, distancing, it's been. I don't want to ruin this video by talking about COVID, because anyone with a brain knows what I think about COVID. But the whole celebrity virtue signaling bullshit really annoys me. Oh, don't worry, I kept my social distance while I was fucking being a pedophile on Epstein's Island.
I had to keep that in there. All right.
And then it turned out the Queen was finishing a church service there in Windsor. And so she was going to be at the house. And I remember Harry and I are in the car and he says, okay, well, my grandmother's there, so you're going to meet her. Oh, great. I loved my grandmother. I used to take care of my grandmother. This is great. He goes, right, do you know how to curtsy? I said, what? He said, do you know how to curtsy? Now, I thought genuinely that was what happens.
But if you see the video, right, this is something that, it's not about comedy, but, it sort of ties into it. You see Meghan Markle doing this rehearsed bit, and she's fucking up the timing. I don't know if you've noticed, but her story is her family meeting the Queen, her meeting the Queen, I think, for the first time. And do you know how to curtsy? For those not familiar with English, it's like a bow. And Oprah, she's not giving a big response because this is not a weird thing. Obviously, it's a queen, you curtsy, right? And instead of waiting for it and allowing that to land, she just moves on with her story. She says, do you know how to curtsy? So she goes on. This is also what makes body language comedy funny, because if you want to make something funny, you sort of do the opposite of what you would expect. Here, they're in rapport, right? She's saying something, Oprah responds, she's with wide open eyes, and usually you nod or, some signal that you're in alignment. If you're talking and you're animated, and someone is sitting there like this, I mean, there's something off. And that's what makes body language comedy so funny. Okay, let's go on.
Outside.
Yeah.
I thought that was part of the fanfare. I didn't think that's what happens inside. And I said, but it's your grandmother. He goes, it's the Queen.
Wow.
And that was really the first moment that the penny dropped, that this wasn't, it was easy for me up until then to go.
See, again, you don't have to say anything. Just a look. A look is more than enough, because you know what he's expressing, right? What he's saying is, how can you be so dense?
She took offense, because that's what she's saying. The penny dropped. I couldn't believe it. In public, I have to pretend to respect the Queen of England. But in private, I could not believe they expected me to respect the Queen of England. That's when the penny dropped. After he asked me if I can do a very small, ancient tradition, a small gesture that will take less than 1 calorie to perform, on the first time I'm meeting the most important and iconic royal on the face of the planet. When he asked me if I could slightly bend my knee a little bit to meet the Queen, the penny dropped. This is unacceptable.
See the exaggerated gestures? It's the facial expression, it's the gestures, it's you reenacting what is happening. And obviously, Meghan isn't sitting like, ugh. But if you're telling a funny story and you want to get something across, you sort of exaggerate, well, not so much what happens, but how it happened. You want to show, because someone wasn't there, right? So you want to sort of make sure that they get the point. You overdo it, which makes it funny.
That was the last day of the tour. Those tours are, I'm sure they have beautiful pictures and it looks vibrant and all of that is true. It's also really exhausting. So I was fried, and
This is hard for me to get through. I went on a tour of South Africa as a princess, treated to the best South Africa possibly has to offer because I am a royal member of the British family, and it was so hard, and I was exhausted, and it was so difficult. I went on holiday. I had to appear for photographs 4 times.
See again with the exaggeration? You amplify the absurdity because obviously this is an easy example, right? I mean, if she was talking sense, this is going to be much harder to do comedy about. And if you try to do this in like rational situations where someone is actually being rational and normal, it falls flat because everyone can see that, okay, I mean, it's not necessarily funny because nothing special is happening. But here we have something that's actually quite funny because it's so absurd. If you sort of point it out and then amplify the absurdity so everyone can basically see it, it becomes funny.
Unbelievable. Poor thing. I take it all back. How could she possibly have boarded her private jet in the UK, flown to South Africa under full security and treated like a princess, literally a princess, and have to take the odd photo? How could I and everyone else not consider how tiring that would be?
So what happens in this clip is Meghan is talking about the fact that her son, I believe, wouldn't get a prince title. And this is where we pick up the video.
And so I think even with that convention I'm talking about, while I was pregnant, they said they want...
Why did they take it away? This is Oprah. Come on. Why? Dig. Damn it. She's lying to you. Why? It's not the right to take it away. I agree with you. It's not the right to take it away. Why did they take it away? Why? They must have told you, someone at some point in years you were in the royal family must have told you why.
This happens often in conversation as well. Like, I'm sure you've had moments where someone is telling a story and then either you interject or they ask for, feedback, and you ask a question, you ask a logical question. Like, okay, so your car dropped off a cliff into a boiling volcano. How are you still here? You're a member of the royal family, so your kid becomes a prince, and they tell you he doesn't become a prince. So first question you ask is why?
Why? They're letting this bitch off too easy.
to change the convention for Archie. Well, why?
Did you get an answer?
No.
So she's asking, why? And no one told me why.
See,
Liar.
This exaggerated thing, which again makes it funny. You don't even have to say it. It's like the Leonardo DiCaprio meme in the seat in the recliner, and then he points. That's it. This is the same thing. That's what makes it funny. Little change of pace. This is the Will Smith and Jada Smith Red Table Talk.
I'm here with you.
I thank you for that, because you've been on a hell of a journey with me. So that's what we're going to start with. This is a very personal journey.
There's something with some gravitas going on. Like there's something actually serious going on. Meaning she was unfaithful with, I think, a friend of Will Smith or something. I don't know. I don't know all the drama, but something was going on. They're sitting at the table. And what she does, which is sort of prey behavior, but also predator behavior if you're evil enough, which I'm of the opinion that she's absolutely evil, is you start smiling about a very, very serious matter. And you're sitting there and you're hoping that the guy that's sitting across from you does the same thing. Because if he does, he's buying it. Like he's actually dumb enough to, to play along. And Will, like an absolute idiot, does.
Yeah.
That became very public.
Yes, absolutely.
For whatever reason.
So what happened, Jada?
Okay,
look at him smiling.
So let's start with, I guess about 4.5 years ago.
Yeah.
I think it was about 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Notice, by the way, if people get nervous, they start doing this whole, maybe. She's stalling. She doesn't want to say it. So pay attention to these things.
Started a friendship with August. Mm-hmm. And we actually became really, really good friends. Mm-hmm. And it all started with him just needing some help, me wanting to help his.
So this is, okay, so what did she do there? Have you noticed what she did there? So she started the story, right? And she's put herself in a position of moral high ground. So we became good friends and he needed help. No, I was looking for dick. We became friends, he was a young guy, I wanted dick. No, we became friends, he needed help. So being the great, nice person.
See how he imitates Jada and her way of speaking. That also comes into, again, all of this is body language, like, and it's comedy, but there's also like a serious undertone because he's making an actual point. It's sort of you leaning back, opening the palms, and these are like universal things. Like if I do this, even if I wouldn't change my voice, it's like, oh, I'm so good for people. I'm like an angelic creature. You know what I mean? You know that I'm sort of faking it, you know, being a fake woman.
You can't get mad at someone for helping somebody, can you? You can't get mad at her for helping him. That would be terrible. So once again, she puts herself in a strong negotiating position. He needed some help, and I was there, and I thought if I give him a blowjob, maybe. Complete bullshit. How many people need help in the world? How many people have gone to Jada and said, I need help? And she's like, fuck you, I don't know you. But this dude, she wants to help. Come on.
These are becoming sort of hybrids of body language and comedy. They play into each other perfectly. Like people that are funny or that are good at comedy in general are really, really good at communicating, because that's all this is. Like if I can make you laugh, I can communicate my point much easier. You're going to accept it way easier. There's like an emotional connection, which is extremely strong. A very good way to influence someone.